Wipe me down.
I think so. What's going on, Daniel? I know what music you've been listening to now. That's been fully revealed.
Trill family.
Yeah, Trill family and my guy, Boozy Bad Ass. Yeah. Good jam.
Like Z's?
Yeah, two Z's.
Two Z's?
Yeah, let's not forget Webby.
Is he from Utah then? It's like the jazz, the bees.
Yeah, I see. I think if I had to guess where on this planet he is from, the first thing that jumps to my mind is Utah. Yeah. Not Louisiana, Utah.
Trill family.
Trill
You
family.
think Trill family's up there too?
I think they congregate up there. Yeah, I think the family gets together. I think it's a good time for everyone involved.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm happy, man. This is my favorite season of the year.
Just living that life?
Yeah, that July, August, September, October stretch in Flagstaff is about as good as it gets.
Those monsoons have been good recently.
I love them. I absolutely love them.
Yeah. It is nice.
It is. Cools things down. I love the lightning storm. Smells incredible. Touches on all the senses. All the senses. I love it.
Yeah. Those lightning storms have been good.
They've been good.
It seems more noticeable this year to me. I don't know if I'm just paying attention to it more or that it's been pretty extraordinary this year.
Yeah. It's all the mindfulness you've been practicing from those quick and nerdy episodes.
Yeah. So you're doing good, enjoying those monsoons.
It's good, man. It's good to be back in the Dunny, too.
Oh, always.
When I say the Dunny, I guess we're in the nice house now.
Nice house.
Moving on up.
That historic nice house.
The historic nice house, yeah.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
What do we got on the docket today?
We got a good one. We're going Beyond Flag, which I always enjoy. Today we're going Beyond Flag with Meg Kabotie Adakai.
Oh, yo.
Yeah, Meg is the mama of two beautiful children. She's an educator, she's an artist, and a lover of nature and community. She earned a most prestigious degree from the Northern Arizona University. Her degree is in Biomedical Science and Psychology. So we got a fellow psych nerd.
Yeah. Go Fumble Lax.
Go Fumble Lax. Love NAU.
Meg was born and raised in Flagstaff and comes from a line of Hopi artists on her father's side, whose work can be found throughout northern Arizona and the world. She is a board member of Flagstaff Foodlink and the Indigenous Circle of Flagstaff and serves on the Indigenous Peoples Advisory Council of Coconino County. She currently manages Flagstaff Mountain Town Markets and teaches children about nature and community. This episode covers some of Meg's connection to the land and to the people of the surrounding areas, her approach and goals to creating the Flag Mountain Town Market, and how it's unfolded thus far and what she sees going forward.
Yeah, this was a fun one. We're super grateful for Meg for carving out some time to sit with us. But before we hop into this episode, we want to share with you a clip from a friend of the show, Sydney Ritter's house, in which she shares about some great things happening in the community and how you can get involved. We'll also have some links in the show notes for those attached. And without further ado, here's Sydney, followed by the most excellent Meg.
Are you interested in volunteering within our local food system? Come join Just Cultivation Coalition, Flagstaff Foodlink, Flagstaff Family Food Center, or the Flagstaff Sustainability Office to connect with local farms and community gardens within and around our city. There is an opportunity to get involved nearly every day of the week. For site hours and event information, check out the interactive map created by awesome volunteer Bryce. All of our organizations are on social media as well if you're interested in staying connected throughout the seasons. Thank you very much. We hope to see you soon.
And now, let's go Beyond Flag with
Meg Kabotie Adakai.
So welcome, Megan. We're so happy to have you.
Oh, thank you. It's just Meg.
Meg.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. My real name's Margaret, and it's my grandmother's name, and I say it's a grandma name, and I always say I'm like going up the stairs to owning that name, but I'm not quite there yet. So just
Margaret.
Meg. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Marge is in there somewhere.
Yeah,
you know?
or
That's
one of my
another
friends
story.
was like, you could be Megret when you're like halfway through.
Megret. And then Marge is like the super graduated one.
Yeah.
Is it like an age thing or a wisdom? What?
Maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then maybe when I actually have grandkids, I'll be like, I'm Grandma Margaret.
Nice. Well, we're so happy to have you. I apologize.
It's okay.
For saying Megan. And we're excited to have you to learn more. You're a couple months into running the Flag Mountain Town Market on Saturdays. So tell us a little bit about how it's been going over that span.
It's been a journey, and I have so much gratitude to be able to do it. It's been kind of all over the place too, because when you're when you're like the new kid on the block, I guess you have to kind of take whatever dates and times you can for. So I'm very happy to have 2 different locations, and one of them is consistent, and it's every Saturday from 8 to noon in the Pine Forest parking lot, which is on the corner of 4th Street and Cedar. It used to be the old Catholic church, but now it's a charter school, Pine Forest. I work there during the school year. My kids go there. And the other market location is in the City Hall lot. And it's just because I have so much, I guess, like so many hours put into the City Hall lot. And, just like there's this little pacing where it's like a 3 pace with the big steps are 10 feet. And then that's how big the canopies are. And so I've done so much pacing there, and I just know that lot like the back of my hand. And also it's kind of like the lot where everybody knows that markets happen. So I'm able to kind of do markets in the City Hall lot and get the word out about the East Side lot. So because I was born and raised here in Flagstaff, and I really have a passion for community and for the East Side, especially. I was born and raised and kind of lived on the East Side, and there used to be markets on the East Side in that lot. But it's hard to keep them going. And so the City Hall lot markets are kind of like a place where I can tell everybody about the East Side ones. And I've been calling the East Side morning market our sweet little introverts market. And then the City Hall lots are sort of our more extroverted markets, or, where more tourists are able to come, or in an area where there's a little bit higher socioeconomic status. But I want to be able to bring high quality food to all parts of Flagstaff, and that's my passion also.
Well, you sold me.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that the world could benefit from being a little more introverted.
Yeah. I'm all on that introversion train. So a market for me and a market for Cody.
Yeah, I'd probably find myself with that introverted one too.
It might not stay introverted for long, but right now it's kind of sweet, and just, people are like, oh, there's parking and it's not so overwhelming, and it's really sweet, and we all just it has a good vibe there.
Yeah. Positive energy. So I'm going to have to hit that before word gets out.
Yeah. Now's your time.
Yeah.
You knew the band before they got big. So would you be willing to share a little bit about the conception of the idea and how it unfolded over time to where it is now?
So I worked for 4 years previously for Flagstaff Community Market. And before that I worked for a vendor there. And it's such an amazing thing to see many different people, whether they're doing arts and crafts or jewelry, or they're farmers, or they're making something local food wise. It's just so cool to see everybody with their passions putting that all together in a community event. And so I've always loved the Sunday farmers market, and I was so happy to be able to work there at first for a vendor, and then to manage it for 4 years. And it's really just something that I decided that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And I'm very interested in the blue zones, which are the different parts of the world where a significant part of the population lives to be over 100. And there are characteristics with each of these places that are common. And so one of them is that it's like the people, they move their body throughout the day. They have a job where they're up walking around. They're not killing themselves, but they're moving. They have a mostly plant-based diet, and they have a spiritual practice and a strong tie to their community. And so I feel like community markets are really sort of like the way to live a blue zone life. You have your high quality produce, and you have all the people that are just so happy to be outside, and you're moving and you're putting canopies up and you're running around. And by the end of the day, I'll say like, or the next day that I have like a market hangover, but it feels really good. And it's such good energy. And so I just am really happy to be able to continue doing that and bringing that good energy to different parts of Flagstaff.
Yeah, that's really neat to hear. I was wondering some of the components that make Blue Zones. You're saying moving a lot, and then the other part was related to a plant-based diet.
Partly, like mostly plant-based. Some of them are all plant-based, but not all of them. But it's like, they're eating their greens basically. And,
okay.
Also, one of the cool things about this new market, or my introvert market, is I have a little bit more time. On Sundays, when I used to manage the big market, it was just like over 100 vendors, and you're just like, you don't have as much time to like delve into each vendor. And so the Saturday morning ones, I'm starting to be like, okay, what is this? This is kohlrabi. What in the heck is kohlrabi, and how do you prepare it? And I even was able to like film a couple little ladies like saying their recipes and how their parents cooked it, and which was really kind of cool. And I've always wanted to bring this booth to the markets, and I haven't been able to yet, but stay tuned because I'm going to make it happen. It's called and they do it down in Tucson, which is where I got the idea. Taste of the Market booth, where you like take veggies that people don't really know very much about, and you prepare it and you say, try it, and this is how you cook with kale, or this is how you cook with kohlrabi. Or when I first started managing the markets, the Sunday market, it was during the pandemic, which was a crazy year to start. But, like you got to get creative, and, you could make even like little bags of produce saying like, here's your dinner kit, like a salad kit, but like local, and just say, here's this, this, and this, and here's a recipe on how to make something with it, which is really kind of cool. And in our big food system, it's kind of like there's just one type of tomato, but I mean, there's like so many different types of tomatoes and carrots, and there's purple carrots, and there's purple cauliflower, and like all the really kind of cool things. And so it's really beautiful to be able to see all the different diversity of locally grown food and heritage food.
So is the climate here good for things like kohlrabi and?
Well, I always say one of the really beautiful things about Flagstaff geographically is that you can drive 50 miles in any direction and it's different. That's one of the things that I like to highlight when I'm talking about Flagstaff for things like this, or even in grant applications. I'm really excited to announce, and we haven't got it yet, but we worked really hard with Forestdale Farms. So I wear many different hats, and one of them is a farmer hat, and sort of my farmer family is Superyard Farms. And so wearing my Superyard hat, we worked on a grant with Forestdale Farm through USDA that's going to allow us to sort of make like a little mobile food hub. And I was talking about that geographic distinction about Flagstaff in the grant. And so this is basically what I said is like, there are many places close to Flagstaff, not like close, but, within 100 miles, that there are so many different climates that it's like, we can grow, Forestdale grows so many greens and like cold weather things because of where they are. And then in Paulden and Prescott and Chino Valley, there are so many different things that they can grow there that we could grow here, but like they probably grow better there. And then there's, out on the Navajo and Hopi res, same thing. It's hotter and drier. And down in Camp Verde, there's the heat, but also it's more protected and there's more water there than, in the other spots. And so I'm really lucky to have relationships with farmers in all of those areas. And so the grant we applied for will allow us to aggregate produce from the different farms and have like a little route. And we're going to be able to purchase a refrigerated van and a refrigerated trailer, store it at Forestdale, and then distribute it to different areas in Flagstaff, my market, some of the resiliency hubs in Flagstaff, which is like the Market of Dreams, the Murdoch Center, the CATS bus, which is like a supportive bus that will travel around and help people, and schools, and then the food bank. And so I'm really excited about that. But one of the the hard things about like a big government grant, because it's almost $200,000. It's just like moves so slow. So I'm just like, okay, it's like, yay, we got it. But then it's like, okay, hurry up and wait for a very long time. But it's okay. And so that's kind of what I've been doing with a lot of the produce at my market. Is one of the ways I'm trying to keep the market from dying, because, you know, little baby markets, you have to treat it like a baby, and they need a lot of support. And so I'm not asking all the farmers to come and sell, because, you know, like they're all part of this regional food system, and it's hard to make a living. And especially here in Flagstaff, we were talking about that a little bit before this, then especially for a farmer, they only have so many hours in their day. And so if I'm able to purchase produce from them and then sell it on their behalf, because I know them too, and I know their story, and it's like, I'm happy to tell everybody, there's all the customers, like, this tomato came from Camp Verde, and it's in this amazing greenhouse by this guy named Vic, and he, in the colder months, has a wood burning stove, and he stays up every few hours to keep it going, to keep available to you, you know. And then it's like, you know, the spinach is grown by the Wongs, and they've been here forever, and they used to do the Grand Canyon Cafe, but now they're retired. And, you know, this kohlrabi is grown by the Hernandez family in Paulden, and Ruben works so hard, you know, like way more than 40 hours a week, just, you know, pulling weeds and irrigating. And they have this really big, amazing, beautiful family. And I'm happy to be able to like tell everybody's story, and also just present like the beautiful produce that they grow. And same thing, you know, just for artisan type foods. I'm really happy that we get to carry barrio bread. I don't know if you guys know about it, but it's kind of a big deal like in Tucson. And it's sort of funny because I feel like half the people in Flagstaff know what a big deal it is, and then the other half are just like, oh, that's cool, some bread. but I tell everybody the story. And so Don, who owns Barrio Bread, he actually started his career here in Flagstaff, and he started Village Baker along with the current owner Rick, and then a few other partners, and then he eventually went down to Tucson, and he started Barrio Bread, and he started baking bread with Arizona grown heritage stone milled wheat. And so that's the ingredient that he has. And I love the story of it and the interconnection with agriculture. He uses a type of wheat in his bread called white Sonora wheat. And it was a wheat that almost went extinct. It was grown in the 1500s by the Spaniards. Oh, wow. And it's Arizona adapted. It would have gone extinct, but Native Seed Search took some of the seeds, and then they worked with people that were passionate about this to revitalize that seed. And then bakers started baking with it like Dawn. And so it's just this really cool full circle thing. And so I get the Barrio Bread from Hayden Flour Mills in Gilbert, because he was able to expand his Tucson bakery is there. And then he has another bakery in Gilbert. And at those bakeries, like, people will line up half an hour before the bakery opens just to get some of this bread. So I always call it like magic bread. Mm-hmm. And I've been so lucky to be eating it. And it really does, like, I think I'm a little bit, sensitive to refined carbohydrates mm-hmm. and all that. And so, like, if I eat just regular bread, I'll just like go into like a coma, and I just feel like sluggish and mm-hmm. gross. But when I eat the Barrio Bread, I feel so good, and it's like so tasty. And I don't know, it's just like, it's magic, and it's just such a gift to be able to represent people like that. And then the farmers, and I do the kind of the same thing with Sweet Sting honey and Lily Mae's pickles. And so I'm able to carry, like, we sort of have this like little general store booth at our markets where we have all of this awesome stuff. And then whoever else wants to try out markets. I mean, like, one of the things about the Sunday market was that we always had such a long wait list. And so I'm happy to be able to give other vendors that haven't been able to get into markets a chance to sell their stuff. And it's a lot of fun.
Listening to you, it sounds like there's a deep connection to the food and to the process the farmers go through. And it brings to mind your connection to farming and how you got into it. And I'd be curious to hear your story there.
Yeah. So I'm half Hopi and half white. My dad, he was from the village of Sangopavi. That's on Second Mesa. And Hopi is just a very like agricultural society. I was born and raised in Flagstaff, and I spent most of my time in Flagstaff. But in the summers, I also went out to Hopi. But because Hopi is a matrilineal culture, because my dad was Hopi and my mom was white, I wasn't ever able to like own property or anything out there. And so I've planted out on Hopi, but I've also, done most of my planting here in Flagstaff. And we've been planting and growing since I was a little kid, before I can even remember. And so it's just such a gift. And my dad always used to call it sort of being like a real human, which sort of goes back to like the Blue Zone thing. It's like gardening is just so therapeutic, and having your hands and your feet in the soil and getting to just be connected to that. And, in Hopi, they'll say like your plants are like your babies. And so getting to like raise those babies, and then, they take care of you. And food is truly medicine. And so I've been growing since I was a little kid. And then as I got older, I was able to get involved with markets. And I've also been involved in a lot of the educational and nonprofit sort of sectors of Flagstaff. And so at some point I ended up getting involved at Kinlani Bordertown Dormitory with a Indigenous cooking class. And so at first I was like the assistant, and now I'm like the lead teacher for that. And we've developed that program since we have started to have a component where we're doing cooking. And then we also have another component of it called Cultivate, where the Navajo and Hopi high school students, that's what the kids that stay at the dorm are Navajo and Hopi high school students that go to Flag High. Yeah. And so we do this program. It's like an extracurricular program at the Colton Gardens. And that place is just so beautiful. And so the Cultivate kiddos, and we all kind of like intermingle, like it's not like the cooking kids are only doing cooking and the Cultivate kids are only doing farming. We kind of all do it. So we'll plant things in the spring, and then in the fall we'll harvest it, and then we'll cook with it. And so I guess that's part of like how I got involved with like cooking the foods. And then I've also worked with a number of local caterers and chefs here. And so I mentioned that like I first got started with the markets by working for a vendor. And so at that time, the vendor was Dianita's Cosinita, and she's Dina Tetro. She now has a catering business called AZ Sunshine Kitchens. And so she does really beautiful local foods. And then I also work with Laura Chamberlain, who is a chef here, and she has a company called LC Professional Chef. So they've been a big influence. And then finding recipes and being out in Colton at Kinlani are ways that I've been able to further develop that. And I also used to work at the Museum of Northern Arizona as an educator. I would do like ethnobotany talks, but I also would do kid camps. And then I used to do one called Hopi Art and Cooking. And so that was a really fun one. And so it's just really cool to be able to, I'm attempting to make a career out of all the different hats and all the different, like, just this web of community and like all the different aspects of it, which is, like local food and how do you cook with it, and farming and art and music. And so all of these things, and education. And so all of these things are things that I'm trying to incorporate into my market, which is again, kind of like a luxury I have that maybe the Sunday market isn't able to have because they're just so busy and so full. I have a little bit more space, and I'm trying to incorporate experiences. And so like at our morning market, we will have little free workshops about growing, and that wasn't all me. That was mostly Amelia. So one of the great things too is I'm just so lucky to be able to partner with so many cool people. And so Amelia Blake is a really cool lady, and you should interview her too. She owns a company called Lily of the Field, where she grows a lot of Arizona Flagstaff adapted native plants. And so she was doing her growers market, which she had done previous years in the pine forest lot, but it was like just 1 or 2 canopies at the time. And she was able to get a grant from the city of Flagstaff sustainability to sort of make it a little bit bigger and pay different growers or gardeners to give workshops. And so we were able to sort of join forces for the first part of the season. She's done now with her growers market, but I'm continuing on with the Flagstaff Mountain Town Market. But so some of the cool workshops that we were able to offer at the morning markets were like making salve from comfrey, beekeeping, how to like plan out your garden, how to conserve water, or like be most efficient with your water. And I know I'm forgetting a couple of them, but anyway, I was really lucky, and we were able to have some great people like Tina from Elevated Gardening, Rylan from Forestdale Farm.
So they would come and teach.
Yes.
So instead of just selling the product or the wear,
yeah,
they would actually come help people learn the knowledge.
Yeah, and they were free workshops to everybody. The latest one we did was the first one without the grower market there, and it's a man named Brian from his company's called Terra Alchemy, and he did a workshop on herbs and the immune system. So that was really cool. And so that's kind of a nice thing about the morning markets, and we've been able to have some live music there. Our fan favorite is Sinan and Terry. They're 2 just amazing musicians who have such talent and beautiful voices, and they really add to the vibe. So that's our morning market. And then in our evening market, we've been really lucky to be able to offer things like free yoga classes, free dance lessons. We've done salsa, bachata, line dancing, and country swing. Yeah, and that's really fun to get connected with the dance community, and I'm still trying to sort of like forge those connections and keep it going. And I'm really grateful for my friend Chris Alonzo. He's an amazing dancer, and so he's been able to help me out with that. And then I'm also a yogi. That's one of the things that I really just try to keep myself balanced. I could do a much better job of it, but anyway, I go to the Flagstaff Foundry, and so I'm very fortunate to have a lot of friends that are yoga teachers, and so I get some friends from the Foundry to come out and do a free flow yoga class at the evening markets. And there's been a really amazing woman, and she also goes to the Foundry, and she's just a super upstanding Flagstaff local, and her name is Skylar, and she has a jewelry company called Sky June, and she's been offering free jewelry stamping workshops at the market, which is so fun. And there was this family that got to come and do it, and it was just so fun to capture the moments where they were just having a lot of fun doing it. And yeah, so we were really excited about that. And I guess that's it. Yep. For educational kind of experiences, but we're always wanting to add to it. And I know there are so many organizations that I have not yet reached out to that I really would like to see at the market. The Northern Arizona Climate Change Alliance has started coming, and cancer support groups are going to be tabling soon. And then also Chicanos por la Causa is going to come out and do some not workshops, but just like educational booth about, drug use and abuse, and be able to, I think they also are going to be handing out some Narcan, which is really awesome. And then we're going to be doing some back to school kid clothes swap at the markets. So that'll be really exciting. And I'm just, we were talking about it before the interview. There's just so many amazing individuals and organizations here that I'm really excited to be able to work. And there's no shortage of just amazing opportunities. And I'm on a number of different boards. And so I'm on Foodlink, a local food not-for-profit, which does really cool things too. And so they come out and table at the market, and I would love to sort of partner with them a little bit more. And same with the Indigenous Circle of Flagstaff. I would really like to, we do have a number of Indigenous farmers and artisans come out and sell at the market, but I would always love to get more. Yeah, I mean, our Hispanic community too, I'd really like to work. I would like to reach out to Ballet Folklorico. I really would like to reach out to them too. So just stay tuned.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're like a walking blue zone. Like you are the blue zone.
I hope so. I mean, if I die at 50, I'm going to be pissed. I did all the things.
Yeah.
Why couldn't I make it to 100?
I love that you have all the names of these people. It's clear, like, I wish people could see, because on your face is clear your passion both for what you're doing, but also just when you think of people, your face kind of lights up. I think Cody's really hung up on the line dancing.
Country, was it country swing? Country, yeah.
So
Is that what you're trying to?
Yeah, Cody's. You're probably stuck on that. You want to know when's the next one, and
Yeah, if you need like
a
a
line dancing, or you want to
subject
teach,
for a video. Yeah.
Oh.
you want to teach line dancing?
No.
You
don't want
like
line
to do line dancing and swing dancing?
I like to move my body frantically to music.
Yes.
In no organized fashion. Yeah.
I love that.
Following instructions is really hard for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we, in theory, have after the dance lesson just a time where everyone can just
Move their body.
move their body.
Kind
But
of express
think-
themselves.
yeah, it kind of depends on like who's there and like level of shyness or how many people are doing it or not doing
Yeah.
it. So I would pay you $10 to just come
There you
and
go.
Oh,
while
dang.
out.
I got a gig.
Yeah.
I got a gig.
Yeah, got that $10
I
for
keep-
some GoFi.
I keep thinking that I'm like, I just have to get like 10 of my good dancer friends and I'll pay them each $10 an hour to just look like they're having fun. And they're like, I don't have to look like I'm having fun. I actually am having fun.
Yeah, if you're
Cody's
moving your
your
body
guy.
frantically in no organized fashion to music, you're
Yeah.
having fun. Yeah.
Yeah. The last lesson we did, there was a little boy named Logan, and he was so cute because he wanted to do the dance lesson. And we were all taking turns dancing with him, but we were like, my knees, I can't, because we're trying to do the turns and everything. But he's like, 3.5, 4 feet tall.
Just flexible.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Gumby
It's a
out
noodle.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel jealous of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
For
There's
sure.
so much going on. How did you become so active? So you're kind of like an agitator for these things. These things wouldn't exist without you. So how did you move from incorporating that into your life into being someone that was a facilitator for those things? And was that something that's been going on throughout the entirety of your life, or is that something that developed in adulthood?
I think part of it is something that I'm kind of working on, is that I can't ever say no to anything. But sometimes that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, we have to balance it with like being able to, okay, I need to slow down and take some time for self-care. But I guess you could frame it as like, oh, it's a bad thing that you can't say no, or you could frame it as a good thing and say like that I'm just really open to opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And I really just love human beings so much. One of my degrees is in psychology, and like I said, I'm very interested in health and well-being. So I'm always, thinking about things like blue zones, and I'm also reading or listening to the TED Talks. And so some of the ones that have really profoundly affected me are the ones that talk about like the Harvard study of longevity that they did over many years following people, and they kind of just like boiled down, found that like relationships were probably one of or one of the most important things we have. And so it's like, being human can be so hard, and working with other humans and getting along with other humans can be so hard, but it's also like we're so connected to each other. And embracing that, I think, is something that just really fills my cup. And I think that there are just so many cool ways to embrace other humans and what they do and what they love that just feel really good. And so that's kind of why I'm on the path that I'm on. And then I guess just the fact my dad was an artist and my mom was a teacher. I feel like I have both of those inside me that I don't know. I wouldn't say like, I want to share a lot with a lot of humans, and I'm just really excited about people being their authentic self, I guess is what I would say. And then I don't know, from a small age, I've always felt like I would eventually like to be some sort of person that's a good example for other humans, and just to help people. And so this is just the best way that I've come to do that. And I've been really fortunate to be able to work with some different organizations that have helped me along the way.
And so you see both attributes of your mother and your father in kind of what you've grown to be. I'd be so curious, what mediums was your father into? What kind of art did he produce? And then how do you see that showing up in the way you move day to day?
Yeah. So my dad he was a jeweler and a painter. He made most of his money with his jewelry, but he always said his passion was in painting. And my kwa'a, which is Hopi for grandfather, he was also a well-known artist, and he was a painter as well. He painted murals at the watchtower at the Grand Canyon that are still there, and the Painted Desert. And then my dad has murals that there was one that was up for a very long time in the Kiva Gallery at the Museum of Northern Arizona. But I believe it's traveling right now, or if it's not traveling, it's like in collections now. And I was actually able to help with that when he was working on it. It was like a huge color in the lines kind of thing when he was an artist in residence there. And so my dad, he really just also, he wanted to tell his story and his interpretations of life, and heal himself through his art. And I guess one of the things that I sort of embodied or absorbed from his artwork is that to me, he was like a huge connector through his art. And like the mural that I was talking about that belongs to the Museum of Northern Arizona now is called Journey of the Human Spirit. He was a recovering alcoholic, and I was 1 year older than he was in sobriety years. So meaning he got sober when I was 1 year old. And his art was a lot about like the healing journey, and he paid a lot of attention to like human dysfunction, but also like how do we work through that. And so that mural and also just like taking that story and like viewing it through the lens of Hopi cosmology, and then of also different other religious or cultural views, and then sort of like finding where the similarities lie, which is something that I absorbed a lot. Just kind of that like we are all human, and we, like we may call things by a different name, but we all have these similar experiences, and we all have periods where we go through darkness or dysfunction. And if we're able to work through it, it's kind of, I guess, what we're here on earth to do, and to help other people to do that too. And so I know my dad touched a lot of people's hearts, and I'm a huge Harry Potter fan too. And I grew up reading all the Harry Potter books, and I like relate my life through Harry Potter. And so when my dad died in 2009, and he died during the pandemic, the H1N1 swine flu pandemic. And I always sort of felt like the way Harry felt about Dumbledore when Dumbledore dies, because Harry was like, he had all these people coming to him and telling him these things about Dumbledore that he didn't even know. And part of him is like, what? I thought I knew Dumbledore. And then also sort of like having regret that like every time Harry and Dumbledore were talking, it was like talking about Harry and what was Harry going to do, and Harry wishing that he had asked more questions to Dumbledore, but also getting to learn about Dumbledore through all these other people who he touched in his life. And so I sort of feel that way with my dad. People will come and tell me these crazy stories, and, like things he did or things he said, way before I was born. 'Cause I was like the second batch of cookies. My dad had kids like cookies, and so I was the oldest from the second batch, and so yeah, it's just, I mean, there are moments where I'm like, what? I thought I knew my dad, but it's cool that like he has so many people all over the world that like just were impacted by him. And yeah.
Was it your dad that said that to grow is to be a real human or something to that effect?
Yeah, I mean, he would talk about being a real human, and he would also talk about our dog being a real dog, because we like lived right near the forest, and so when our dog would be running out, he would be like, okay, well, our dog's now it's being a real dog. And I don't know, I guess that's something that I've just like absorbed too, that like as we get farther and farther from our roots of just being beings of this earth, is kind of like, I don't know, I just feel bad sometimes that some people have to live in cities and apartments where they don't get to touch the dirt. And like, you know, I do this little kid camp in the summer too, where I call it Farm and Forest School. And so it's really sweet to be able to have some of the kids that I've had for years, and, you know, they run through the canyon like deer, and they don't have any of their shoes on or anything. And then I'll have like a family that has heard about it that is coming up from Phoenix, and they're like, oh, well, my child, you know, he wasn't really able to be in nature, be in the dirt, and, you know, was in an apartment for half of his life. And it's just like, it's so neat to be able to see when humans can just get in nature and connect to that, because I just think that it's part of who we are as like real humans. And I think like it's just therapeutic. And I think some of the problems we have are because we're like so disconnected from nature, like both immunologically and, you know, psychologically. And I know that like nature therapy is just like a huge thing. And I mean, I don't like call it that, but that's kind of how I feel when I'm doing gardening and doing my kid camp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you speak to this a little bit. When I hear your dad's quote, I think of like the message I glean from that is there's things that are authentic to being a human.
Yes.
And there are ways and systems that have driven us really far away from that.
Yes.
And I wonder through Meg's lens, what are those things that are authentic to humanity, that are very connective?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, just all the things that we're doing in our market, which is, you know, just like human to human connection and cooking and building things and being outside. And I mean, I have a very hard time just like being indoors. And so I love to be able to do these open air markets and, you know, things like music and art and expressing yourself and growing and baking and making. Those are all, I feel like, and doing it all together. That's just like what makes life worth living.
Yeah, that's being a real human.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so cool to hear. And in that, I wonder what it's like for you to facilitate the market. Mm-hmm. And what do you get out of that experience? It sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, it is a lot of work. But it's energizing and it's so fun too. But yeah, I'm definitely really tired at the end of the market day, especially when we do our double market days. Sometimes, you know, going back to like dysfunction and imbalance, and I think like my dad, you know, he had his problems with like substance abuse, and I don't have substance abuse issues, but I do think that I take certain behaviors and I kind of make them unhealthy. And so sometimes when I'm feeling a lot of trauma, I will work myself to death. And so sometimes that's the side of things that, you know, like I really want to work on. And I am working on, you know, healing and dealing with my own, you know, like my dad would call the shadow side, you know, dealing with my own shadow side and walking more towards balance. But like I have jokingly in the past said that I was on market meth because like I get like so high from just from all the good things about the market, you know, just the energy that comes with it, and just all the good vibes and seeing everybody. And but it is a tremendous amount of work. And I mean, it's like whether it was for the Sunday market or for my new market, you know, I wake up at like 3 a.m. and I go out and I set up the canopies and I like make sure that, you know, like one of the things though about Flagstaff is, man, the weather, it's rough sometimes. And, you know, you got to tie down all the canopies and you're running back and forth to give people weights and hanging on to stuff and, you know, like making sure canopies aren't blowing away. And then if it's raining, then you're running around this and that. And, you know, it's just one of the funny, like, I don't know, markets are just kind of like this really funny sort of like village. And part of me wants to make some sort of like play or telenovela about them and just like, you know, be an actress of all the different characters that come through, and like the things people say are just so funny sometimes. And, you know, like you can kind of tell when people come from a place of agricultural background and they know things, and then people that, you know, maybe tourists that are coming up from Phoenix that are just like, well, why are there no avocados here? or like, this is mushy and why does it not look perfect? And, you know, it's just like, it's just kind of funny. And
that's a telenovela.
There it is. Yeah.
There it is. I see it. Really I see your vision.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so many characters and so many like just funny quotes. Like I have different lists of funny quotes that I keep, and some of them are like things that my children have said. Some of them are things like the children that I've taught over the years have said. And then there's like different book
market
of all the
goers.
One-liners, like best of.
Best of one-liners.
Yeah.
Phoenix tourists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
It's a
Phoenix
special
tourists.
category just for.
And that's the extroverted market, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so you have so many ways that you connect with the community through that market. Yeah, can you summarize how you connect to this community more generally?
Well, how I connect to this area is just, I don't know. I feel like I was born and raised here, and I often say that I have a fierce love of my community and of Flagstaff and of this area, the Colorado Plateau. I used to work at the Museum of Northern Arizona, and they've since changed their mission, but I like really wanted to I memorized it. I don't know if now that I say I memorized it, maybe I didn't, but it's to instill a sense of love and responsibility for the beauty and diversity of the Colorado Plateau and our area. And so through education. And so I feel like I really kind of absorbed that, and just all the different missions of all the different places that I've worked. I really feel like I've tried to like absorb them into my being, you know, and the mission of the Flagstaff Community Market was to provide a space for local agricultural growers and an alternative to the big box food system, and, you know, make like a smaller community oriented thing, which I really absorbed. And, you know, I don't think I've really totally made a mission statement for my new market, but I'll have to work on that. And it's definitely going to be along those lines. And I mean, I just love so much where I live and all the people in it.
Yeah, that's great. You've mentioned some things like taste of the market, different educational opportunities that you're looking to incorporate. Some of the biggest things I'm looking forward to is hearing about the mission, the development of the mission statement, and the telenovelas about market goers.
Oh yeah, okay.
So those are some highlights for me.
Yeah. I've often talked with people about, like, you know, we got a grant for ArtX for other different art projects, but I'm like, oh, I gotta do an ArtX telenovela play or something. Would be so fun.
That'd be great. Yeah, I almost imagine something like, do you think of something like in the realm of like Parks and Rec or Community, like that kind of, I don't know. Yeah.
Characters.
That kind of, yeah.
Like
parody almost.
Let us know if I would love to help that idea go forward.
All right, let's do it.
Dance for it.
Yeah.
It'd be so fun.
That's good.
It's so nice seeing with you. We appreciate you taking time, and we appreciate all the work that you're putting into enacting the things that create those blue zones.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you so much for doing this too. It's really just another piece of the puzzle is telling the story, right?
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for carving out some time for us and doing what you're doing for the community. Like the word that I've heard you use a bunch today is connection or connect. Yes. And I see you doing that out in the community, and it's great to hear your own story and how much meaning you derive from that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So Meg's left the building. Meg
has left the ice house, the nice house.
Yeah. How about that introvert market?
Yo.
Doesn't sound too bad, huh?
If I were to design a market for you, it would be the introvert market.
Yeah.
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 What do you think that's like, though? Like a true introverted market?
Oh, I think she describes a lot, right? Because there's more than like, she was talking about how it's a little more spread out. So there's a little more area.
Okay. Space.
Okay. And a little fewer people.
Okay.
So, which also makes space feel more spacey.
Yeah.
But also all the crazy learning and educational opportunities. So it's like, here's this food, but also she's talking about incorporating like a taste of the market or her different ideas.
Yeah.
So there's like this learning, like always just more information about the thing.
Yeah. Okay. I got you. This kind of takes me back to our Enneagram episode way long ago.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about like the landscape and the different types and how they might show up on the landscape. And I think of the introverted market is on the very edge of the landscape, maybe just outside the line even. Yeah, and next to that introverted market, not too close though, is a trailer.
Yeah.
And that's where you are.
Dan housed watching.
Yeah, watching. And when you feel it, you know, necessary, you can then mosey on over to the
market.
To the
when
market.
I see the crowds are low.
Crowds are low. Yeah, and there's opportunities to take in both space, time, and information.
Safety is there.
The introverted market is like the Fives paradise.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, what she described sounds phenomenal to me. Really, it's like genuinely appealing. But you also labeled in the episode that that would be your market of choice at this juncture as well.
Yeah, I think I'd probably lean more that way as well. I could probably get by in the extroverted market, but afterwards I'd probably feel a little taxed.
What stuck out to you? Like what was appealing to you
about the introverted market?
Yeah.
I think all the things you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
so you give me a hard time, but you want that space, low crowds, and education.
Yeah, that all sounds nice. The education stuff, you know, maybe just some conversations with some people. And get by. I one thing I would not want at a market would be to like feel pressured to like buy anything.
So no pressure.
Yeah. Is that more present at an extroverted market, do you think?
Oof. Yeah, maybe because there's like an urgency, either like everyone's buying stuff, so you feel like you gotta be part of the crowd to buy stuff, or maybe there's a line behind you, and so like you're waffling on an important decision about which carrot to buy. And, you feel the pressure from the line behind you. So maybe
I don't want those.
Yeah. I'm surprised at this though, because you're always so quick and good at making decisions.
Yeah, I would say that that's true. And I think the people in my life, particularly my wife, anyone really, I think would also support that statement.
Yeah. If you were just real quick, I don't mean to take up too much time on this outro, but if you could do your best impression of Jamie, so both sonically and in content, do your best impression of Jamie, what would she say about your decisiveness?
I think she would laugh. There would be a sarcastic comment, and it would be very uplifting.
Yeah, so let's hear it.
You want to hear it? It'd be like, Bayless? Yeah. That's how it would sound.
I do. I wish there was a camera here now, because the look on your face was very proud.
Very proud.
Like you nailed it.
I think I nailed that. Yeah, she would reference me by my last name, laugh, and sarcastically agree with the idea that I'm a very decisive, efficient decision maker. Yeah.
Turns out you're not.
Probably like the last.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe, but you don't know.
I'll get back to you. We'll make a decision about that later.
Yeah. And so Megan's doing so many cool things with that introverted market.
Yeah.
But just an incredible individual. Touched on so many cool points. Blue zones. She's like a walking blue zone, right?
Yeah. Totally.
One of the things that stuck out to me, though, that I wanted to bring up is actually a very small moment in the episode, but stuck with me. Is when she was talking about the process of gardening. She was talking about having your hands and your feet in the soil, being connected to the land, being connected to plants and the environment around you. And then she made this quick statement about how when you take care of the plants, they take care of you.
Yeah.
And it just touched on this point. I may have even heard other people say that thing. Is the way it landed and her talking about her experience in learning to connect with the land, that it just struck me that, how it was like a comment that highlighted how interconnected we are with the environment around us and how important it is for us to be in tune with that, because it exists whether we're in tune with it or not. And the more in tune with it that we are, I think we take care of the earth, and the earth then takes care of us.
Yeah. Turns out. Reciprocal relationships.
Turns out it's reciprocal.
Yeah, yeah. We tend to do best when we hold those with ourselves, others, and the planet.
Yeah.
Turns out there's a real truth in that.
It's good stuff. Thanks, Meg.
Yeah, thanks, Meg. That kind of connects to the thing that stuck out to me the most is when she was talking about the dogs running free and being a real dog.
Yeah, being a real dog.
Being a real dog, yeah.
You're just that real dog?
I'm a real dog. I'm an RD out in that mug. I'm a real dog. No, I think of like what stuck out to me relates to that, and what does it mean to be an authentic animal as a human? What does it mean to be an authentic human? And for me, I just think of, I think we spoke of this real quickly in the episode, but we talked about some of the systems that have been developed over time and how far those drive us away from our our basic natural needs and what is core to us and fundamental to being a human. And it seems to me that Meg taps into that, and then is also doing actions that are embodying that very thing. Come back to sort of the fundamental human nature and what is best for people.
Yeah.
Yeah, on a self and community level. And so it was really cool to hear her talk about all of those things, I think.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, how great was it to sit with Meg?
Oh, it was great. Yeah. Really grateful for her to carve out some time sitting with us and coming in the nice house, sharing all the cool things she's doing out there.
Yeah, you got to hit that Flag Mountain Town Market, huh?
I think so. You can also find it on Instagram, I believe, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She out there, she posts pictures of the people that are like doing the educational opportunities or the teaching. There's dancing and food.
Yeah. Very cool. Flagstaff Mountain Town Market. You can find that on Instagram.
Yeah.
And encourage everyone to swing by.
Yeah. Well, why don't you take us out by shouting us out?
No doubt. You can always find us on the interwebs. We're at www.beyondflag.com. Flag spelled
FLG.
And we are also on IG. We are at beyond_flag.
FLG, we out here.
We out here. You can also check out any of our other shows. We'll plug for Quick and Nerdy, covering those neurobiological effects of meditation.
Crossing the chasm.
Crossing the chasm with the pod god himself, Brian C. Peterson.
And some new things on the horizon.
Yeah, stay tuned.
All right.
Lovies.
Take care. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. That's what I see. Too bad this is not a video podcast. Everyone could see.
You just watched me get stuck again because those question cards.
Oh, man. That was one of my favorite moments. If people would ask me what was my highlight in 2024, it would be pulling the question cards with Lotus in the mindfulness episode.
How many times have you seen me just shut down? Just mentally, it's, just shut down. It happens often.
I was going to say, I think a lot.
Yeah.
And it's usually questions about something that you might have an opinion of,